Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the AfterBuzz TV Days of Our Lives weekly recap. We're excited to recap this week and talk to Vincent Irizarry. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Why, hello, all of you Days of Our Lives fans. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin' Days, where we give you a full recap of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives. I am your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by a full house today. We have all the way over to my far left,
Mark J. Freeman.
And our special guest co-host for today, we have
Vincent Irizarry.
Yay!
Thank you.
And of course, sitting right next to me, we have the devilishly handsome, extraordinarily talented.
You took the words out of my mouth. Matthew Evan Payne. So handsome, so happy to be here.
And I'm happy that you're here.
Basically, if Tony doesn't say it, Matt's going to say it anyway.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Tony,
We have to acknowledge the face.
It's our thing. But all those adjectives describe you as well, Vincent.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, this is a joy. It's very nice.
You're in for a treat, I'm sure.
Well, thank you. This is our fourth beginning here.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I gave up all my best material on the last rounds, but this is great. I'm looking forward to the rest of this now. I've got to start writing some more material. Okay.
I told Vincent I didn't want to speak to him until we went to air, so.
He did.
Are you so rude?
Yeah. So we just sat here and ate pizza rolls.
That's right. We ate pizza rolls. It's Father's Day.
That's right.
And happy Father's
Well,
Day.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us for Father's Day. I'm not a father yet, but I hope to be one day.
Father or a daddy?
It'll happen.
Those are two different things. And of course, you guys, thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Dishin' Days on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter at _Dishin' Days. The at is usually implied. All right, so how did we feel about this week's episodes of Days, just overall?
Overall, I liked it.
Yeah.
This storyline with Deimos, Kate, and Nicole is so good. It's hard not to like.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said that, and of course, Billy.
Yeah.
We have a Billy fan in the house. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, a huge Billy fan. Well, let's get right into it. It's now time to start
Dishin' Days.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
There we go. Dun, dun, dun.
Here we are.
We set it and forget it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have to say, before we begin, I was on the off ramp. I got to the stop sign, and I was like, so excited for today.
That's
Really
awesome.
happy that you're here. Thank you for
Matthew.
joining us.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
You just randomly clapped?
I
have no doubt that he actually did that.
They did. Stop.
It's like,
That is not even an exaggeration. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. All right.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's
All right.
hop on into it. First of all, we have obviously the Kate, Deimos, Nicole, and Chloe story.
And now
Now the
Chloe,
Chloe
the
story.
new
Let's-
Chloe.
Now
the new
Chloe.
Chloe.
That's
Or
right.
should we say Deimos Robert?
Slash Robert.
Davis
Kate,
Robert. I know, that's
Nicole / Helena / Chloe.
That's
Yeah.
right, Robert Tasso.
I know.
Tasso. You know, it was interesting because we mentioned this earlier that I knew, but we're 6 months ahead on this show, and I knew that this storyline was coming, and I couldn't wait for it to come because it was so well written, and loved working with everybody that I was working with, and it was one of those periods where I couldn't wait to get the next script. I was like, oh, what's going on? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And oddly enough, everything that you saw at the river, we shot that so out of sequence. We shot like a month and a half after everything else that surrounded it.
Oh,
It was good because they had to build that set. They had to put that set up, and they waited
Gotcha.
until it was literally at least a month, maybe a month and a half. We had been so far past it, and then we shot all that stuff in like 2 days.
Yeah.
But it was just, we were all very excited about it. It's a great storyline. I'm very happy.
Well, I say when Chloe walked in, I think we all of our jaws kind of were like, I mean, we all knew she was coming back, but we just weren't expecting that. We were all like,
I had no idea. I didn't know she was coming back.
You know, even for me, when they told me that, I was like, really? Oh, that's going to be interesting. And then I read the flashback scenes they put in there, and I loved them. I thought they were really well done.
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing them, and it was like, you can see how that could have happened. And that he was manipulating her, obviously.
Right,
He was
of
using
course.
her. But it was great. I love that that was the beginning of their relationship, and that's how they got to know each other, and it made sense with the story. That he was trying to get as much information as he can before he goes to Salem.
And I'm so glad that they had that flashback scene, because we were all kind of like, okay, why is he called Robert? Like, what's his connection to Chloe? Like, how did this happen? And so thank God for that flashback, because it's like, oh, okay, it all does make sense, and it all kind of connected the dots and why you would go to Chloe and pretend you were Robert and all that.
Well, it was also, I liked in the scenes with her, when I finally acknowledged to her that I'm not Robert Tasso, that I'm Deimos Kyriakis. I was watching that scene in my dressing room with a woman, Maria, who runs lines with us. And
Maria O'Brien?
Yes. And
she's in our show at the Odyssey, but we'll talk about it later.
She's wonderful. We love her. We love her. She's wonderful. And she was watching the scenes with me for the first time. When that happened, she goes, "Ooh, that's freaky." It's like, ooh, it's like, oh, she just let the snake in your house. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She got like freaked out by it, but it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
But it was I loved also because Deimos was being sincere. He was being genuine with her. He was opening up and saying, "This is the reason why I was Robert," and you know.
And it really makes you wonder. Okay, now what is the relationship with Deimos and Chloe? Because he even mentioned, you know, you're the only one that I can trust, and it's like, oh wow, this relationship is deep. Like if through all of this. You know, we've seen Kate and Nicole obviously battling it out, and then now Kate being the real cause of Deimos's death and not Nicole, and then Chloe coming in and you feeling like she really is the only person that can help you through this. It's kind of like, okay, now I really am invested in this relationship and what happened between you two.
Right. You know, there are going to be more flashbacks.
Yeah.
That show
well, of course,
that
Days is good for flashbacks.
Well, that the relationship had developed, that they had a closeness that was developing between the two of them.
Yeah.
But as Deimos said to her after the river, he said, "I could have stayed." It was the first time in like 30 years that he was feeling a connection with somebody.
Yeah.
But he was intent on seeking revenge. That's what he spent all those years in prison waiting to get his to avenge what happened because of his brother. So he left, and he didn't. The good thing is that he didn't use her to the point of, you know, we'll see, develop, see how it goes.
Yeah.
He didn't use her beyond the information and getting close. He didn't draw her closer. So at least that's something that he had some integrity about it.
Yeah.
And then he went to Salem, and he, you know, exacted his revenge, but now he's questioning whether it was all worth it.
Yeah.
You know, because he came to the point of almost dying.
That's true.
All the women in Salem are falling head over heels for you. Even Nicole, who didn't want to, now you must have slipped something into her drink because she's
I think
loving
it was the piano. I think it was
that's what it was.
Some Debussy and some Beethoven. I think that's what it was. I think.
Yeah.
And you actually play. You're classically trained. Is that right?
Yeah, I played everything live. Everything was done live, and that whole sequence that we did of me playing Moonlight Sonata, that was over 5 minutes long. That I could not make a mistake and stop because I'd have to go all the way back to the beginning again.
Yeah.
And it was a little daunting. I mean, towards the last 30 seconds, my mind was playing games with like, don't stop. And my hands, I felt like my arms were starting to tighten up a little bit. Like, oh, just relax, be in the moment, stay there. I got through it, and I was really happy. I played really beautifully.
No,
and you two had a beautiful kiss at the end of that scene. You and Nicole.
Yes. The Eric Satie scene. Yes, the one with Jim Nepenthes. That one we did. That was the first time I think that we kissed, probably, if I remember correctly. There's more of that to come. So you'll see.
Well, speaking of Nicole within this storyline and what happened this week, I'm starting to feel a little sorry for Nicole because the old Kate is back and is really like out to get Nicole.
Right.
And I feel like once again Nicole is in this position where like her hands are tied and she can't really get out of this situation, and the one person that can hates her so much that, you know, she doesn't want to see her. And now you add Victor to the mix, who is now going to Roman and said, she was a part of and I was just like, wow,
my brother's a piece of cake, huh? Something else. I know. I'm like, and people seem to be sympathetic with him at the things that I'm doing to him, and I'm like, I went to jail for 30 years for a murder I didn't commit. He was involved with the death of Helena. She was the love of my life, and I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm getting my revenge against my brother, but it's even more. It's deeper than that because. He's the, I don't know if you watched Game of Thrones, but for me, he's like the Jon Snow of the Kyriakis family. He was the bastard son that nobody wanted to recognize or acknowledge. And his whole life, he wanted to be known as a Kyriakis. He wanted to be accepted by his brothers and his family. So that's considered, on top of the fact that he was in jail for 30 years, is even more of a reason for him to come back and want to force his way into the life.
Yeah. How much fun do you have sparring with John Aniston on
the scene? I love it. And I'm so grateful that my first scenes on the show were with John.
Yeah.
Because first of all, they were very well written. It really established something immediately, that what was happening between the two of us. And he was just a joy to work with. He's such a professional. We got through the scenes in one take, each of them, and he was just, I loved it. For me, it set the foundation for the rest of the time that I've been there. So it catapulted it. It's been great.
I don't typically like when soap operas rewrite history. Okay. I mean, you're a character that was never acknowledged on Days of Our Lives up until you arrived.
Right.
And it's beautiful.
But
they executed it so well.
Now, I know. They did, because there was a reason why he didn't want anything to do with it. Probably a part of Victor, I would say, that was his own guilt, that the fact that he knew his brother was in jail for 30 years, and it's a shame that he'd have to share with his family. Well, my brother really didn't kill her, but she's there, you know. Mm-hmm. So I believe that makes sense. It made a lot of sense. So I'm happy with that as well.
And I've said since you've come on that, I mean, we thought Stefano and Victor were evil. Deimos totally tops them on evil, at least from my point of view.
Yeah, he can. I'm pretty sure they both have done pretty dastardous things.
Yeah.
I think anybody in that room between Kate and Nicole.
I think there's quite a few people in Salem.
No one should be throwing stones in that building.
Right.
Yeah, but for me, I feel that there's also a core of honor in Deimos, and I love that fact that Deimos went to Victor and said, "Look, I will let it all go. All I want from you is an acknowledgement of what you did, and an apology." And I would have. I was like my olive branch to him, and he said no. And I said, well, basically, you're gonna sleep in the bed that you made yourself, you know. And that's when he went after Maggie. And
when Deimos
I know everybody hated me after what I did to Maggie.
Oh my God!
Everybody hated it. It was an unintended consequence that she fell down the stairs. I didn't push her.
Yeah.
But and I know that he feels that way too. I think even in the scene when Victor tells him, when he comes to the house, the mansion, tells him that happened. You know, I felt for Deimos that he was genuinely upset by that, that had happened to her, because she didn't deserve that.
When Maggie started walking up the stairs, I thought, oh no,
I know.
Don't do it, Maggie.
And I love her too. She's fantastic.
She's lovely.
Suzanne is fantastic. She's great.
So one thing that I noticed was when you were talking to Chloe and kind of professing your love now to Chloe as well. I was like, every scene, it's like he's professing his love to one of the three. So I had, as soon as you started doing it to Chloe, I jumped on Twitter and I wrote, who would you want to see Deimos with of the three? And I got the totals back. It was a lot closer than I was thinking it was going to be. Nicole won by 48%.
Okay.
Chloe got 31%, and Kate got 21%.
Wow.
So it wasn't
really solid.
Yeah, it was pretty solid, and I feel like anybody's kind of like, I'm kind of happy whichever way it goes.
Well, I think even the Kate one, it's only 21%. I understand it's only because they saw what happened, how it transpired. If it was like 2 weeks before, it may have been even closer on all sides, you know? Because I think that there's the one thing about all three women, I see, first of all, for Deimos, he's been in jail for 30 years. I feel like he's trying to live his life in fast motion. You know, it's like hyper speed to make up for the 30 years. And I see that the three women are sort of the composite. The three of them are like the one perfect woman for him, you know? One represents family, you know, like a Chloe. Yeah. She has her son Parker, right? And more is going to develop about that. One is true love with Nicole. Okay. And the other one is a sense of power, a desire for power, for positioning, authority. So that's the way that I've worked this. That's the way I see it. Yeah. These three women are all together would be like the perfect woman for Deimos to make up for the 30 years.
Well, and they kind of all are.
That's right. There you go. That's exactly right.
I think Deimos was very upfront with Kate the entire time. This is a business.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no love connection. They were sleeping together. And
they were playing each other the whole time and enjoying it.
Right.
You know, that was part of it. That was their relationship that they had together. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I asked fans which vixen they are standing behind, and 91% said they're standing behind Nicole, not Kate.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, even I voted for Nicole.
Okay.
I'm with Nicole.
I actually voted for Kate.
So you're the 9%.
Oh, they're the 9%.
I didn't see it, so I didn't vote.
That's funny.
Well, I guess we'll continue to see how this storyline develops because there's so many layers and so many things going on. You have Kate, who has her plan with the fake marriage certificate, and Victor calling her out on it this week, which I thought was brilliant. I love that he looked at the marriage certificate for all of 2 seconds and was like, "So you and this fake marriage certificate?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
Of course he would be able to point it out.
I love that scene with them.
Yeah. And then you have, Nicole, who is just looking for some sort of evidence to get out of, this mess that Kate has put her in. And Kate still trying to play cleanup woman, hiding that the handkerchief with the blood. And I was like, that whole scene, I was just like, she's so Kate.
Yeah.
To like go back and like have the glove on to make sure no prints and get it all dirty and hang it ever so slightly.
She's extremely calculating, and I love actually even her son Philip, like calling her on it, not buying it for a second.
Not 1 second.
It's interesting, and did I miss something? Because I watched the show with Nicole and Dario in the closet, right?
Yes.
Did they kiss?
No.
They didn't.
Not until they got to the police station.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember
And he
seeing
said,
that.
"I've been wanting to do that all night."
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, I thought so because I remember reading in that script. It was 6 months ago. Remember, I've had 3 kids since then. Not on the show. I'm not giving anything away. I'm not giving away. But they, because I remember reading the script that they kissed, and I thought it was in the closet, but it was then it was at the police station. But I don't remember seeing those.
He
scenes.
looked.
I don't remember either.
I wonder
But
if he
I
had a dream. No, I'm pretty sure it happened. No, he looked at her like he was going to kiss her in the closet.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Kate said, "You
Okay.
can come out now, Nicole."
Yeah.
Well, that's why now Damos has a hit out on Daria. No, I'm kidding.
We're like, what?
So you were no stranger to playing a villain.
Right.
Have you ever played a good guy?
Yeah. I played on Santa Barbara.
Santa
I played
Barbara,
Dr. Scott Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Scott Clark was a good guy. Yes, he was.
Deimos is not a good guy.
No.
David Hayward,
No,
not a good guy.
David Hayward was a little even crazier. David
He might have
Hayward
been-
was a little psychotic. He was a little nuts. Like I said, I believe that there's a core of honor in Deimos. I do believe that. But where David was concerned, he was such an egomaniac. He had a god complex, as this doctor, and I just felt like, man, he enjoyed destroying people's lives.
That's right.
So he was a little psychotic, a little pathological, nuts.
Running greenly ragged. I watched those days. So
Yeah, and I love the backstory they created for him finally. In the beginning, they didn't have a backstory, and he just was and I said to them that they need to bring somebody on the show that knows his history. Why is he the way that he is, or else he's just going to become an annoyance to everybody. And they wrote such a great story with Marge Doucet coming on as my mother, and she was brilliant. She really was, and it just that was the foundation that set that character off for years. It was great.
Yeah.
And when you came back to All My Children, David came back even stronger. He was...
Yeah, it was interesting because that's when I left in 2006, and within 2 weeks I got offered the job on Young and the Restless.
Yes.
That was only supposed to be for 3 months. It turned into 2 years, and literally the day after I left Young and the Restless, I got a call from Julie Carruthers and the head writer. I can't remember his name right now. And from Young and the Restless, he's the writer. Chuck Pratt. Chuck Pratt. He called me and left a message on my voicemail, and Chuck Pratt said, "I want you to come back on the show." He just started writing, goes, "I want to write for you," and he says, "Let me help you win an Emmy." I went in to meet him in New York, had a great meeting. I loved the story he was telling me. I started working, and it was so well written, so well done for the character. And 6 months later, I'm standing on the stage accepting the Emmy.
I met you that night.
It looks a lot like that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
My name on
similar.
it, all that. But yeah, and that was the story, and it was such a good story. I was so happy when they brought me on to do that, and it was great. So
You play such a good bad guy.
it's fun. I like playing characters that are multifaceted, dimensional. And that's Deimos is like that. I love that when they told me when I went to that first meeting. The only meeting I had was with Ken Corday and with Albert Alar, Janet Ryder, and with and who else? Oh, Josh Griffith was there, and Marnie Saita and Bob Lambert. We were there, and they were telling me the story of this character of Deimos, and I loved it. I loved everything they were saying to me, and Ken Corday said, you're perfect for this character. I said, even more important, I feel that I get this character.
Yeah.
I understand what you're talking about, how you how you want to develop him, and I did. I totally got it. And I was like, walked out of there, and it was great. I don't know if this is something that happened right after that meeting. It was like a 45-minute meeting. We talked about everything about music. Ken found out I play piano. He really loved that, and he wanted to bring that into it. There were other people that were meeting for it too, but I walked out and I left my sunglasses in the waiting room, and I left the building and I was like, hey, get my sunglasses. I go back inside, buzz in, go to get my sunglasses, and Ken Corday is walking out of the conference room that we just had the meeting. And I see him and said, oh, hey, thanks so much. It was wonderful meeting with you. And he said, yeah, no, great meeting you too. And he started walking away and turns around and he goes, oh, by the way, welcome to Salem.
I just got the
really?
chills.
I know. I said, really? He says, yes, we're really happy to have you. I said, thank you. And I was like, I'm walking out, and the receptionist, she goes, did he just say welcome to Salem? And I said, yeah, he did. She goes, oh, I'm so happy. I loved you and all my children. I was like, thank you. And I walked out of there going, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It was such a great role.
So
I was like really happy. So yeah.
Good. Well, we're gonna talk more with Vincent later on, and we're going to have you guys able to call in and ask your questions as well, but we're going to plow through our recap so that we can get in as many questions and talk with Vincent as much as possible.
Another way to tell me to shut up. Okay. Okay. All right, it's enough.
I was like, tell me more, Vincent.
Okay, I get it. Thank you, Tony.
No. We're gonna get to a whole lot more, but we're gonna get to this bad boy, which is Joey and Jade and Patch and Kayla, and this whole storyline in the commune, which I still feel like is like the weirdest spot. But okay, it just when they first introduced it, I was just like,
strange.
Yeah, it was. I was like, this just doesn't even feel right. But it's definitely not right because Jade stayed back, and Joey and Kayla and Steve were preparing to leave, and then Joey gets a text from Jade that she needs help, and Derek. It's Derek, right?
Dirk.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that can remember his name?
Yes.
And I'm usually the one that never remembers the names.
Well, he's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and has like held everyone hostage in this facility.
He shot a cop.
Commune.
Shot the store clerk.
The cop walked out looking totally fine and then collapsed on the ground. Oh, that could have been my disaster moment of the week.
Could have been.
It wasn't.
Yeah. But how do we feel about this?
Joey got shot.
Joey got shot because he was wrestling with him, and the gun went off. And I was like, "Oh, this is how they're gonna end him." Yeah. And then it was Joey, and I was like, "Oh my God! Like, what else does this family need to go through? I mean, they've been through so much ever since Jade came in the picture." And I have to say, I really liked Jade in the beginning. I'm starting to feel like, oh, Jade, I don't know if you're really good for this.
I was there last week, and now I like her again. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Now that she has a soul.
Well, yeah, especially with all the stuff in the hospital. But at first, I was like, I'm not sure about you, Jade. You're trying to.
I think it's gonna go full circle. Like I think she had to kind of go in a darker way. Yeah. Like Hillary, and then now she's coming back to where she originally was.
So you're blaming it on Bernie now?
Yeah,
that Bernie has pulled it too far to the left, and now she's coming back. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
But I know what you're saying because there was a moment where I was like, I don't, because I'm Team Jade 100%.
Yes.
And I still am, but there was a moment where I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I think she's coming back, and I think that, and I liked how Joey kind of explained why he wanted to go back to her, that she doesn't have family, she doesn't have someone to rely on.
Right. He's her person.
Yeah. And I like that. And I'm really liking Joey, like James. I think he's really stepping it up, and I'm assuming that's from working with those two amazing actors.
He brought his A game. It was such a good crying.
Yeah, he did such a great job when he got shot.
Yeah. And his Elvis impersonation.
It really was excellent.
That was cute.
That's cute. And also with her, Jade, the actress who plays Jade, I thought her scenes after they found out that Joey was going to be okay.
Yeah.
She played it beautifully.
Yeah,
I think so really did. And I think that across the board there's such talent on the show.
It really is.
The cast of actors.
It really is.
I'm impressed with everybody that I get to watch and work with.
When Jade's auntie Looney Tune walked in,
Simone,
crazy, and Jade told her she had to leave, and it escalated, and Jade threw a fit and threw her out. I think that's when Patch realized that Jade's in love with Joey and welcomed
her.
Right.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think she had to kind of go there to make the story.
But I think Steve gets it. I think Steve gets her. I think Kayla's the one that's like, no, you're corrupting my baby, and I can't have you around him.
She had her nice moment with Paige, though, too. She went over and consoled her because she knew how devastated she was.
But I think Jade's kind of almost like Patch. You know what I mean? Kind of the bad
female
one.
version of Patch. Yeah. So
that's a lot of Patch for Kayla to handle, I think.
That's true. She's overwhelmed with too much Patch.
Yeah.
But it turns out Joey's going to be okay. The bullet just hit some muscles and nothing major, no major arteries.
So stop crying about it, Joey. No.
I think he overcried then. It was like too much. It was like there was no bones. It was just muscle.
I think I would have passed out. I would have been like, I would have been so dramatic if I had got it.
Let's see.
No.
I beg your pardon. I mean, it could have been just a nick, and I would have been like, oh my God, I'm dying.
Let you go out and come back in. Show us what you prepare and come out. Let's see what it comes
Tony got a paper cut.
I need my moment before. Listen, anything that happens to me is, I feel like it's life-threatening. I could trip on the ground and I'm like, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. Please save me. That's very much that. All right, so
that's kind of that.
That's it.
That's
with that.
Okay, so let's get to Hope and Rafe and Aiden and Blanca. And I'm just gonna say it because I'm sticking firm with this, and I know that James Lott Jr. defended this when he was here. I'm just having issues with the Hernandezes only eating tacos and guacamole. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have an issue with that. I just think it's so stereotypical, and if they're fine with it, that's fine. But personally, I'm like, really? We only make guacamole and stuff in this house?
That's what...
I'm sorry. It's starting to bother me.
Salsa.
Sorry.
I get a little passionate.
I get it.
That's okay. That's okay. That's all right.
I mean,
I'm not even Hispanic, but I'm just like, really? Like... It's not going to affect that story if you're making a freaking salad or a pizza. You know what I mean? Like,
but it went with it. Because last week...
But it's every time.
But it's literally, it's every
because
scene.
You don't see Victor and Demos sitting down arguing over tzatziki. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, there have been a few things that they've written in there that we've taken out.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Stuff like that.
Okay.
There have been a few things like tzatziki and moussaka and stuff like that. We don't say it. And they had some Melacomona cookies or something the other day in the script, and I didn't say it because I didn't even know how to say it. So I was like, it was all right. And so nobody seemed to know.
Sorry, I just had to get that out. Okay, let's talk about the story.
So. Well, I'm gonna defend the salsa eating.
It was guacamole.
No, it was salsa.
This week was guacamole.
Well, because it's become the number 1 and number 2 condiment in the country. So everything seems to be with salsa. I don't know. So there you go.
They're getting some advertising.
There you go. I guess.
But I think what it was, because remember last week when I guess Rafe was having a day or whatever, his mom made him salsa because he likes her salsa.
Right.
Cut to this week when Blanca's making the salsa.
But it wasn't salsa. It was guacamole.
Are we sure about that?
I'm positive.
It was guacamole.
They said guacamole 5 times.
Then again, we did have a discussion earlier.
And he said
that's
just maybe a little more lemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she was making something.
You watched it.
I did. I watched the show. I did.
I think I gazed over it.
Okay.
but whatever it was, he was like, I felt like they were trying to connect like that with his mom's and trying to, weave in Blanca.
Can't she make really good chocolate chip cookies, though?
I absolutely see what you're saying, Tony. She was trying to ingratiate herself upon Rafe by having him taste something that he was familiar that his mother made.
Yes.
That's what I think it was.
And it just so happens to be guacamole.
It just happens to be guacamole.
Right.
But it could have been chocolate chip cookies.
And it would have been a little weird if he came home and it was like a pig on a spit or something like that.
Yeah.
It was just like doing that. Then it would have been kind of weird.
That would have been too much.
Yeah.
That would have been way over the top, maybe. Okay.
So how do we feel about...
I like Blanca, though.
She's
so
gorgeous.
Pretty.
She's good.
I really like her.
She did a really nice job.
I'm always, like, when they first start, I'm always like, because, I don't like to accept them right away.
No,
well,
they have to pass the Mark Freeman test.
I kind of digging her. So we'll see.
Oh, and see, and I'm just a fan with open arms, and whatever they give me, I just accept.
Well, I'm happy that you are. I honestly, it's a very different world than when I first started in daytime. It was way back when I started Guiding Light as Lou Jack. There was no internet. There was no Twitter.
Yeah.
There was no these groups that are on sites and everything, message boards or anything. And I honestly believe that had there been that at the time, my character Lujack may not have been able to take off. Because it took time for the audience to finally embrace him, because he came in there was Beth and Philip were the super couple at the time, and he came in and he started driving a wedge between them, and the audience loved Beth and Philip. But it took a few months where they finally turned and they wanted Beth and Lujack.
Yeah.
You don't seem like you get that time because of the internet, and because people have access to give their opinions, and sometimes they're so hostile, so harsh immediately. Yeah. And I wonder how they would be at their job if they started a job. People walked in there, was like in their face all the time. Point. Oh, you suck! What's wrong with you? That's a good point. Oh, you're terrible. You have your body looks horrible and everything. They do that. It's so like merciless. And I tell that to the actors when they first start in the medium. Don't read the message boards. Let it go. Do your best work. Yeah. Just do what you came here to do. Don't, because it's too hard for some people. And also, I saw it. I've seen it. Actors get affected by it.
Yeah. We mentioned. I always mention it. Just with the birth of social media and the internet, there's all these spoilers. So there's not that feeling of like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. Whereas you only found out tidbits of what might happen by standing in line at the grocery store, reading Soap Opera Digest or Soap Opera Weekly. And now, because things are filmed so far in advance, people get this information somehow. We're not people that, get it. But, they get it and it's like, oh, so-and-so's coming back or this is going to happen. And now, as a fan, you sit there and wonder, okay, now how is it going to happen that they're going to introduce this person or why is this person? You sit there with those thoughts rather than just watching it. As it comes to you.
I was gonna say back to the Chloe when she came on. Normally, I'm watching to see what, and actually, because we get stuff from Maya to see who we want on, and I really try. It pains me to read them sometimes because I don't want to know what's gonna happen, and so I knew she was coming back. But I wasn't paying attention to what day. And it just makes it so much more exciting when I'm watching it. So too. And she comes on, I'm like, oh, today's the day! That's awesome. Like, I just love that moment. And that's why I actually started unfollowing a lot of the Days spoiler pages and the people that post a lot of Days stuff because I mean, that's what you fell in love with watching soaps was those moments of surprise.
And I feel like Deimos is full of those moments. It's a surprise every time you're on screen. What's going to happen next? That's so exciting.
It is. It's great. I love it. I love all the changes, the turns, the twists with the character and what's going on. And there's a lot more to come. Believe me. There's going to be some fun stuff.
Maybe he'll end up with Hope now. He's had everybody else this month.
That's right.
But Deimos has had all the women too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of Hope, how are we feeling about now that Blanca's in? Yeah. Are we more Rafe and Blanca or Rafe and Hope or
Rafe?
I was never Rafe and Hope, so
I don't think many people.
Well, he was.
Well,
he is.
Look, I'm having to choose between Rafe and Hope or Aiden and Hope, and Aiden's no good. Aiden's trouble.
But there's more to there's at least a story there, and they're already laying the groundwork for the future stories.
Guy. He's a bad guy.
Not necessarily.
How is he not necessarily a bad
everything
guy?
That he's done, he's been blackmailed into doing.
He has no moral code.
Says who?
Me.
Says the guy with no moral code. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
And said the guy who wrote the fake marriage license.
Right, exactly. But he did it for money, and she knew that he needed money, so he did it, So you're saying if somebody came to you and said, here's $250,000.
You're lucky we're live on a YouTube channel.
Mary, you would write that. You wouldn't even leave the plate. You'd be like, give me a pen. I got it. I'll write it right now. Can I make $250?
I mean, I totally get it. I mean, I might.
So you're more Aiden and Hope then?
Yes, because they took their time with them and creating that relationship with them. Right. And then when everything happened with Aiden, it was just kind of like, it went away. Yeah. And now that we find out it was a double and now he's back, I feel like we're invested again, whereas we knew they were trying to make Rafe and Hope happen, but I just feel like it wasn't.
And I also, too, have to say, in defense of Aiden, because I do like Aiden, is a lot of what, I know this is kind of mushing reality and what happened on the show, but we know we were getting rid of him, so they had to write him off. So they had to make him do something bad to get rid of him. So I'm willing to let that go.
I just want to say, for the record, I enjoy Aiden's scenes. I like the character of Aiden. I like how
I love Daniel Cosgrove.
But I don't think he's a good fit for Hope. And I don't really care about Rafe and Hope either. But if I had to choose between Rafe and Hope or Aiden and Hope, I'd go Rafe.
Bring Bo back.
Bring Bo back.
He was in the flashback.
Bring Bo back. Yeah. Bring him back.
I did think of you, Tony, also, when Aiden asked Hope to dance.
Oh my God! when that scene happened, I was like, "Here we go again. We're gonna have because when they first got together, it was that dance at the fundraiser,
ball,
and then the infamous Christian Alfonso one eyebrow raise, which.
Okay.
Which I mean I love.
I wasn't aware of that.
But they played.
How can you not be? It's always there.
Yes. But
you'll notice it now.
She does all of her tags with the
eyebrow raise. Yeah.
Okay.
But they played that flashback over and over and over again because it was the moment when they fell in love. And so this week when they started dancing, I was like, oh boy.
I was thinking, well, at least they'll have another dancing clip. Yeah, exactly.
I'll be fine without it. I'm just saying. All right,
Vincent.
Yes.
Look at that camera and give us your best tag.
My best tag? Oh my God. All right.
It's putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you definitely put me on the spot.
I need a pizza roll for this.
Do you want me to lead you
I'm not
into
going to
it?
be able to get serious here. I know it. I'm not going to be able to. Okay.
Demos. I slept with Nicole.
What the hey? No, I slept with Nicole. All right.
The love of your life.
And Chloe, why would you do that? No, I'm kidding.
Chloe, why would you do that? All right, so that's that story.
Those are the main stories.
Yes, and now we're into tidbits. Just a little sprinkle of information that happened this week.
So at the end of the week, Billy Flynn knocked it out of the ballpark, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He was all right.
But I do have a negative.
For Billy Flynn?
No, of course not. With the makeup department, for not, come on, people. We're just gonna place a mask on her that she just got burned, and there's no red, nothing like that bothered me. I'm sorry.
Okay, so when I saw the mask, I was like, so this is how they're going to make us forget Kate Mancy's face and prepare for the new Abigail.
Right.
Abigail.
Yeah. I was like,
but I still wish they would have put some makeup on her to make her at least look somewhat burned.
But they said that she only had burns on 10% of her body.
Yes.
But still, come on.
And it was only, wasn't it first and second degree?
Yeah. She said first and second degree.
That would be more.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
And then if you're
my girlfriend, we were like,
then why is this bandage?
And the new actress, Marcy Miller, has piercing blue eyes. I don't believe Kate's are.
They changed in the fire.
That's right.
Right.
Her retinas were burned, and they were replaced.
Suspend your disbelief.
Well,
I'll say this: Casey Moss
picture of her, the new actress.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
She reminds me so much of Kelly Giddish. You know Kelly Giddish?
Oh, yeah.
Every time I see her on camera, because she was on All My Children for a short period of time, and then she went off and she went and did a lot of nighttime shows. Every time I see her on camera, I'm going, oh my gosh, she looks like her younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Have you been there yet for her scenes?
Yeah, I've seen a few of her scenes. Yeah, absolutely. She's wonderful. She's very talented.
I'm excited
forward
to see
it.
Yeah,
I am sad that Kate's leaving.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see.
She did a phenomenal job. She really did.
She's off to other things now.
Yeah, and Robert Scott Wilson also. Yeah. I mean, they worked well together in those final scenes with her, with her lighting him on fire. The whole
thing. Oh my God! Yeah, that was
great. It was great.
I love. Speaking of Robert Scott Wilson, he made a quick appearance.
Quickie.
I just would love to be there on a day where like he shows up and he's like, so which look am I supposed to give her? Got it. And you're wrapped.
And that's a wrap on Robert Scott Wilson.
Yep. We'll see you in about 2 weeks to do the same thing.
So good. I love watching his scenes. Even that, I get excited to see him for 2 seconds.
Yeah, he did a great job. I did probably one of his first scenes ever on a soap was with me on All My Children.
Yeah.
It was his first job. Yes, he was working at was it The Price Is Right at the time, and he got
the
that
first male model.
And that's right. Well, actually, I did The Price Is Right when I was Lou Jack. J.D. Evans and they flew us out because we were CBS.
Yeah.
They flew us out from New York, put us up at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel.
Fancy.
I think it may have been my first time in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And all I had to do is I gave away a motorcycle on the show. So the curtain opened up and I'm sitting on a bike and a leather jacket because Lou Jack was a leader of a street gang. And Beth was in like this flowery dress or something, and she was giving away something else. That's all we did. So
that's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always secretly wanted to be one of those people.
On the models.
A model, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't have the body for it. I like to eat too much.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That could be a problem.
That could be a problem.
Speaking of eating, Let's take one of these pizza
Push 'em
rolls.
over there.
Yeah,
There
push
you
them
go.
over. Yeah. All right. let's,
I didn't finish talking
ahead.
about the. So basically, Abigail somehow caught the place on fire, burned herself.
They called Marlena, which I thought was a
Marlena. Well, I
strange
think she
call.
was with Billy or Chad. Sorry. But I'm sorry. Did you think it was like she just? She just seemed so calm. I don't know if it was because Billy was or Chad was so worked up.
Yeah.
But she just seemed like, yeah, just get it together.
Well, she's Dr.
burned.
Marlena Evans.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
that's true.
she's been there, done that, seen it all.
Yeah.
And Anne Marie Johnson.
I love Anne Marie
What's
Johnson.
her name on the show?
Yeah.
Dr. Robinson.
Yeah, I didn't work on days that she was working, but she and I started a miniseries years ago, Jackie Collins miniseries called Lucky Chances for NBC.
Lucky Chances.
And Anne Marie Johnson was in that with me. In fact, we had a child together. I'm trying to
Off
remember
camera.
the actor's name. No, it was on camera. There's one of them was on camera. And I can't remember it was the actor, but he was on Seinfeld, and he was the lawyer, the Johnny Cochran. He played the Johnny Cochran lawyer, but he was on there. Philip Morris.
Oh yeah.
And that was with Anne Marie. And so when I saw that she was on the show, I was like, oh, it's great. I'm looking forward to seeing her. And then I wasn't on those days.
I love her.
Keeping you apart.
She's
she's
always
great.
one of those actresses that just you're watching something and she just pops up and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, good for you.
She was
Yeah.
like, Chad, I understand you're upset, but you need to get it together so we can go and see her, okay? And he
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody kept just telling him, like, look, I'm busy, okay? Excuse me.
Yeah, I know.
Just tell me what's going on. He's like, no, okay, you gotta
Even
calm
with
down.
Sean.
I have things to do.
Even
And
when
then,
Sean came in to help,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm
he
gonna help
said-
you, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, he said, oh, you really want to know who started the fire? Okay, I'll be right back.
So I look for inconsistencies on the show. That's one of my jobs because I have something every week called the Daysaster Moment of the Week.
Okay.
This was not the Daysaster Moment of the Week, but the arrows pointing to the room numbers.
We're all out of
okay.
whack.
Yeah, I mean they were all in the 400s, but room 424. It was like 425 was over here.
I
It
love
should've been
that you
over
pay
there.
attention
yeah,
to that.
well, I'm looking for that stuff for the segment.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sure. That's fine.
So prop department,
Okay.
I'm
we noticed
watching
the
this.
stupidest
but yeah,
things, and I
yes.
don't know why, but we
Believe
do.
me, there are people that have written to me about things about my characters. I'm like, how did they know
Know
that I
that,
was in
yeah.
room 324
Yeah.
on the
Oh
hotel
yeah, they
and
noticed.
Yeah,
They-
10
they
years
use
ago?
those.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
go ahead.
crazy.
What else? I'm curious now.
Abigail was in desperate need of a phone. She wanted her cell phone to make a call to call Chad.
Right.
Oh, a couple of weeks ago. A couple
And
months ago.
there was a phone in her
Room.
hospital room.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, right behind
Well,
Well, she finally got it then.
Excuse me. It could have been like just an
Which-
inner hospital
house.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can't dial out.
No.
You can't dial 9
Usually
and then
just
1.
down 9. Yeah. Down 9
Right.
to get an outside line.
Anyway,
Well-
I'm the cuckoo bird.
But you don't know that maybe there's no battery on the phone. Maybe
Right.
they just gave it to her so she can make believe since she's imagining things
Right.
She's
anyway.
imagining too much.
Yeah, so she's delusional.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Well,
And then-
speaking of delusions.
Oh, wait, was there one more?
yeah.
There was one more?
Was there one more?
Oh, no, you said
No.
and then, okay. All right.
Oh no,
Sorry.
and then moving on to the next segment.
Another delusion
Or the next
was
Yeah.
Teresa's nightmare wedding.
Yes.
That happened.
That's true. She was having a major anxiety dream, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
yeah. There was a lot going on. Poor Anne. First of all,
What happened?
kudos to Meredith Scott Lynn, who looked really good
Yeah,
in that dress.
in the
and
dress.
everything.
She did,
Yeah,
yeah.
So I have to give her a round of applause for that. She
And
looked
I
good.
actually, is it Marie Wilson?
Yeah.
Marie Wilson, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I thought she looked beautiful too. When they cut
the
to her,
wedding
I
dress?
was like, oh, she looks
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Not that she
okay,
doesn't
I
always,
agree.
but I
But
don't
it
know.
was,
They
like,
did something
very
different that
striking.
made me
I
like,
agree.
Yeah.
But this
You know, when the
whole-
gay guy notices, they did their job.
But you know, this whole nightmare, like
You're
everything
gay?
with
Ish. Don't tell my husband.
everything with Teresa's wedding was going wrong. The necklace
Oh,
broke.
God.
Anne had to go to the hospital, which I love. Her response was like, the guy was like, "Do you want to go with her?" No, it's fine. I'm just gonna go to the wedding. She'll understand. Just take her away.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do it for me.
But I only thing I did when the necklace broke, right before that, they were talking about the bad luck of him seeing her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was an issue that the necklace broke. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Right.
wait a minute. So either you believe in superstitions or you don't. Because you just had a whole scene about how you don't, and then now you're worked up because the necklace broke.
The
It's a
necklace
dream.
broke, and I went.
And she just got more nude as the scene as the nightmare went on.
Victor.
Victor
Yeah.
walked in. That
funny.
was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
I know,
really
Victor was
clever.
great. It was
Yeah.
great having Victor come in there
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
with her.
he called. Victor called Teresa's mom a whore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic
Yeah.
Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the nightmare, he's rotten.
Yeah, but luckily it was just a nightmare. It was just all a figment of her imagination. But it was nice just to kind of have that.
Didn't we talk about that with her when she was here, Jen? About the whole thing. Like, I just don't know. I just don't see Teresa being so like passive about it. Like, I just feel like if she doesn't like Summer, she's gonna go after Summer.
I
like,
agree.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like this. I'm gonna have bad dreams about it.
Well, she's new Teresa.
But I think it's because she loves Brady so much she's having bad dreams. I think she fears losing him.
Oh.
And is it bad luck that Brady saw the drawing of her dress as he was saying goodbye to her while she was sleeping on the couch?
No.
Okay. Is it like
Because
the
it's not
same
the
as
dress.
seeing her
No,
get
it
the
can
dress?
change.
No?
No, it's not the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it can change just like Abigail's did when Chad saw her.
Right.
A totally different
Totally
dress.
different.
Yeah, totally, completely. All right, well, that was her nightmare.
And then for our final tidbit, we have Sean and Belle and Philip and his Belle number 2, who was played by Billy Flynn's real-life fiance, Gina, who did a fantastic job.
She did a great job.
Yeah, she was a little sex kitten.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to her.
I think so too.
Billy's into sex kittens.
Are you putting yourself in the sex thing category?
You do that.
I'm gonna have a pizza roll on that.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna eat on that.
Gina, excellent job.
Thank you, Alexis.
Does Billy Flynn ever come on the show?
He does.
Yes,
He
twice
does?
he's
Okay,
been.
he's coming, okay.
And he survived.
All right,
So
he survived.
I don't know that I
Did
did.
they sit him
but
next to you?
He did.
Oh, okay.
He
I was just
surprised me
curious.
for my birthday.
Okay.
He came in, and then
that's
the
good.
first episode was kind of a blur. I was in a different phase of my life. So,
Yes.
yeah.
That's
So Philip is at the bar, or was it Club TBD?
TBD.
Well, TBD.
And
Hallucinated.
Belle
Right.
hitting on him, and then he realizes it's not Belle, that it's Lisa.
Yeah.
And brings her back to his hotel.
Mm-hmm. Tries
And
to,
they
you
get
know.
hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Until he calls her Belle.
Belle.
Yeah.
Trying to
Says,
cover up and say.
I love you, Belle.
Yeah. And then try to cover up.
She's like, what?
I was saying Bella,
Bella.
like you're beautiful.
Belle, yeah, she goes, yeah, nice, good try.
Yeah.
But I love that Lisa was just kind of like, listen, I'm not trying to fall in love either. I was just trying to have a good time, but I really just wanted to, just be about me in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's what ruined it for her.
Yeah.
She's like, if you're thinking about another girl, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah,
Right.
you can empathize with that.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a problem.
In that situation, you want it to be about you.
And Philip's got issues, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got a few
Yes.
issues. So.
But I am liking seeing Belle and Sean together again.
Me too.
I really do
They
like
are-
them together.
Yeah,
And I love
they're having some great moments.
their Martha and Brandon, I think, are doing a fantastic job.
And
Fantastic
obviously, you've watched them together
Oh,
in
yeah.
the past, so they have
Yeah.
a history of
Yeah.
the characters together,
Mhm.
being able to draw from that
Yeah.
history. That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. No, it's
Cool.
it's great to see them back together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that has been your week of days.
Pretty
and
much.
Now it's time
There it
to go
is.
into our segments, and we're going to start with mine, with Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Yes. So,
What the heck? Okay.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, go.
Get ready, Vincent, because
All
this is where
Hold
things get
on,
kicked
Hold
up.
on.
All right, so in true Tony fashion, I'm gonna have to break up my snaps because there's so many people that snap worthy. So my first snap goes to Victor for calling out Kate on the fake marriage certificate. So snap for him. My second snap goes to Kate for her devilish ways and also calling out Nicole for being in the house and breaking in and being like, bitch, come out. I know you're here. So snap to her.
I can smell your perfume.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, I have to give my last snap to Chloe and that sequins dress that she wore in the flashback when she met Robert.
There you go.
And those have been Tony's official 3 Snaps Awards.
There
And
we go.
now it's time for... That's it. The Disaster Moment of the Week.
Oh, right. There we go.
So
Sundays and days.
my disaster moment of the week goes to our most recent guest, Miss Jen Lilly, for literally sleeping with one eye open. Did anyone notice that?
I didn't.
As her eye closest to the pillow is
I
is
see
open.
it.
I only wanted to give her the disaster moment of the week because she was such a good sport last week and she thought it was a funny segment, so I wanted to give her the shout. I was looking for one and they cut
You're
to that
right.
scene and I was
That's
like,
it.
yes, that's it. So
That's
that is
funny.
my disaster moment of the week.
And now it's time for...
No sound.
Oh,
It's
no,
okay.
Here it is.
Quote of the week.
There it is. Alrighty.
All right.
So my quote of the week this week is going to go to Eric Martzoff, who plays Brady. When he was in the dream with Teresa, and Anne was in the room, and he says, "It's new and it's blue. And I trusted you had old and used taken care of." But then Anne's response, "It's borrowed." But so Brady gets my quote of the week for that.
Cool.
I thought that was fantastic.
And that has been Mark's
Quote of the week.
And now it's time for Fan of the Week.
Fan of the week is going to, from iTunes, a comment. Somebody wrote a review, gave us a 5-star.
Yay.
Kate Fan 6986, and she wrote, "Hey, I've loved the show from the very beginning. You guys bring honesty, a sense of humor, and joy every time I watch, and it's so great that current and past cast members come and talk about their experiences and support the show." And this goes out to Mark. More Billy Flynn on the show. I agree. Keep up the good work.
I think you wrote that in there.
I didn't.
I think you wrote that in.
on the
You
iTunes
edited
review.
it.
That is
You
on the
edited
iTunes. So Kate, what is it? Sorry, Kate Fan 6986. You got Fan of the week.
All right, and that has been our segments, and now let's go into some news and gossip.
Ooh,
A little bit news and gossip.
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So, and right after news and gossip, we are going to open the chat lines and for you guys to call in and ask your questions to soap legend himself, Vincent Irizarry. Yeah. After a
Stuff
pizza
in
roll.
his face.
So first and foremost, this week we had the pleasure of chatting with Allison Sweeney, who stopped by to talk about her time on Days, her new books, and she also talked about the time that she felt at home at Days of Our Lives. Check out this clip.
Amazing.
Yeah.
When did you realize it was home?
That's a great question. I think at my wedding, I got married and
Which one?
that's awesome. Awesome. That's funny. My real wedding.
I think she was talking about her real life.
And I had so many of my friends there, and my family, and Josh Taylor was there, and Brian and Eric. Jensen Ackles was there, and like it was just felt like family and the crew. Like it just was so great to celebrate, and I remember like dating Dave while I was working, and some of the camera guys like, I gotta meet this guy, and like uncles, dads, and it just, I don't know, like the whole thing sort of it just felt like family, and then I got pregnant and had both my kids while I was working there, and they went through all
now,
that
if you guys want
experience
to check
with
out
me,
the whole entire interview, make sure you go to all of our social media platforms. We have it posted there, and we will post it in the description below on this video. So special shout out to Allison Sweeney for stopping in and chatting with us and walking down Salem memory lane with us.
And speaking of Miss Allison Sweeney, make sure you tune in tonight to Murder She Baked, a deadly recipe at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Hallmark Movies and Mystery Channel.
And that's with Cameron Matheson.
Yes.
Right? I saw a picture of the two of them on the ad or something. Yeah.
Oh look,
funny.
it's right there.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
There they are.
and if you go to her Allie Sweeney's Facebook page, she puts a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which are really cute.
Yeah.
From that.
Yeah.
Also, which I thought was funny, and I almost said something when Allison was here on Thursday, because I was like, I think it's kind of funny that Ari Zucker has a show on Lifetime tonight as well at 9 o'clock,
Yes.
competing Days Divas. She'll be on a Lifetime movie called Killer Assistant tonight at 9. So
Cool.
you might, hopefully you can record multiple channels on your whatever
Yeah.
you have.
you go.
Ari plays Suzanne Austin, a high-profile editor who discovers her husband is cheating on her. It sounds like a soap opera.
Yeah.
Just as her new assistant starts showing an interest in her. Unfortunately, his carefully planned seduction leads to an affair, and Suzanne's world becomes a nightmare of deceit, obsession, and murder. Who wrote this? Congrats, Ari, and make sure you guys check it out if you have time. Set both
that's
of them.
great.
Record them both.
Yay! And that has been your news and gossip. And now it's time to turn our attention to our special guest host today. I know you guys have been dying to call in and ask questions.
I have a lot of fan questions too from Twitter and stuff, so if you need stuff,
Oh, of course. And now it's that time. So feel free to call in 424-253-0749. Again, that's 424-253-0749. And let's chat. Let's talk. All right.
I was saying, I'm going to ask real quick. You met James Lott Jr. in the hallway on the way in. He used to be on Days, and he hosts the General Hospital. So I purposely messaged him and Lucretia. I have a question from each of them because I knew that they really wanted to meet you and wish they were in here to ask their own questions. But James wanted to ask about your time on General Hospital, I do believe.
No,
is what he
my
was
children. Yeah, because I wasn't on General Hospital.
Or Guiding Light, sorry, Guiding Light,
okay.
sorry. And what it was like to work with soap legend Beverly McKinsey.
Oh, Beverly. I loved working with Beverly. I was new to soaps. I had never done a soap before. And I was on the show probably at that time about 5 months. And the character was really starting to take off. And they told me that Beverly McKinsey was coming to work on the show as my mother, and I didn't know who she was. I was like, oh, who is she? Oh my, she's like a soap legend. She was Iris on Another World, and they even named a show. She was the first person that had a name above the title of the show. Was Texas.
Wow.
Beverly McKinsey in Texas.
Wow.
And she came on, and she was so wonderful. And I've had such a I've been so fortunate, so privileged to work with so many wonderful veteran actors throughout my career. Beverly McKinsey was certainly one of the first ones. Larry Gates was on that show at the time. I've worked with James Mitchell and David Canary, and so many, and now working with John Aniston, and I feel very fortunate because they, for me, as a young actor especially, Beverly was somebody that I looked up to as a symbol of professionalism. You know, of really giving it your all when you put it out there every day. And to this day, I still hold her in that esteem. So.
What do you enjoy about the soap genre? Because I mean, you've been involved in it for quite some time.
Right.
What is it that you enjoy about it?
I love that it's if you do a TV show, there's a 1-hour show, or you do a movie, or you do a play, there's a beginning, middle, and an end. This is a beginning, and hopefully a lot of middle and an end. But it's wonderful because you work every week in, week out, and honestly, it's some of the hardest working people that this industry has to offer.
I agree.
Work in this medium, and I hold the writers of every show I've ever worked on in such high regard because they're churning it out 5 episodes a week. I don't care what writing staff it is. There's always going to be misses, but the fact that they're doing it and getting it out there, and then the producers and the directors and the crew, everybody working together, it's such a wonderful collaborative effort. And I love that. And if you get a great character, you get a great storyline, because it really does start on the page. You get that, and you get to work with wonderful actors. It's so fulfilling. It's very satisfying. And I get excited to see the growth and the development, the changes in the character, the nuances that you don't get to do in other mediums because of how much it is. Yeah. So that's, I would say that. Yeah.
If you were just talking about all the amazing people that you have worked with.
Right.
I think it's Kylie K asked, who haven't you worked with that you're like, oh, why can't they put me in a scene with them?
On this show, well, I guess, it would have been nice to work with the character Stefano, with him, with Joseph Mascola. That would have been nice. I mean, I've certainly seen him throughout my years as an actor. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to work with someone like Tony Geary or something at some point. I never did. I've known him for years, and not very close, but I've been introduced to him and spent time with him in different functions throughout the years. It's funny, and this is one of the great ironies of my life as an actor, is that when I was a kid, my grandparents' Days of Our Lives was their favorite show. That was the number one show. Ever since I was a kid, I equated it with my grandparents. During lunch, they'd be eating lunch and watching Days of Our Lives. And then as I became a teenager, my brother and sister started watching Luke and Laura on General Hospital. Yeah. And I equated soaps with my grandparents, and I walked through the living room, and they've been watching Luke and Laura. I go, you guys are a bunch of losers. Soap operas. And one of the great hours of my life. I've had a career of over 30 years working as an actor, and I couldn't be more fortunate and grateful about it, to be honest with you.
Have you had a favorite role, if you're willing to say which one?
It's interesting because I've had several that are wonderful. Lou Jack was amazing. It was a great character, and it was only 2 years of my life. I left. It was my choice to leave, and because I made a commitment to myself when I started. It was young. I didn't have any commitments other than myself. And I was like, when I started that contract, I said, I'm going to do it for 2 years, and that's it. And everybody thought I was crazy, and honestly, they offered me 3 times more money to stay, because I was the new actor in the show, so I was like the low-budget actor, Right. But they offered me 3 times more to stay for 1 more year, and I said no. And my agents were like, are you crazy? I said, no, I'm going out to LA. This is the time to take chances. So I did that. I love that character, but even to this day, people still call me Lou Jack. Then David Hayward was the first character that rivaled that one, and I did it for 13 years, David Hayward. And now Deimos, I put him in the same category with the two of them. They just had so much potential. There's so much depth to the characters, and I'm just enjoying just chewing on him all the time. That character and the story, it's just been fantastic. So,
were you part of the big move out here with All My Children?
Yes, I was. We moved the whole show out here for 40 years. 40 years uprooted from there and retrenched and came out here. And that was shocking. I mean, even for the community in New York, they had them there for all that time. And it was heartbreaking that it didn't go as long as they had hoped, and it only went for a year and a half. And then I did the 2.0 also. I did that, online, and that was
and then
again,
you had to move back to the East Coast, right?
I'm sorry.
You had to move back to the East Coast for that?
No, I was flying back and forth because we were doing like 5 weeks on, 5 weeks off. So they were flying us in, putting us up, and then I'd be coming back. But even that didn't go as long as they had intended it to go because they ran into money problems and they were in a lawsuit, which I think they still are with ABC, Prospect Park. So it was just so disheartening because they kept dragging it out. We're coming back for months, and then it didn't happen. And that was hard.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out what fans want to ask or make comments on. Let's take this first caller, Alexis.
It's probably James.
Hello, caller.
In the
Welcome
lobby.
to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin' Days. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
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 All right. Well, we'll try another one because they're all a buzzing. Hi. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin' Days. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
My name is Alex, and I'm calling from Virginia.
Hi, Alice from Virginia.
Alex or Alice?
Alex.
Alex.
Okay.
Alex
Sorry.
from Virginia. Sorry. Well, you are on live, and we have Vincent here. Do you have a question or comment for him?
Yes. I was just watching the stream, and
Thank you for watching.
I think that's really great that you have like such a connection to the show through your grandparents.
Yeah.
And because I know like a lot of people, like it's more of a generational thing, and I've watched a lot of soap operas with my parents and grandparents. So I was just wondering, what do you think your grandparents would say if they got to see your role of Deimos?
Believe
and
me,
how they would like the role?
Oh, believe me, I felt like my grandparents were smiling down upon me the moment that Ken Corday said to me, "Welcome to Salem." I felt their joy, honestly. I am serious. I felt that because I already had that in my history with my grandparents whom I adored. I loved them. They were wonderful, wonderful people, both my Italian grandparents. And so it meant a lot to me when they said that, and I still to this day I feel that they're smiling down and just enjoying it. And my grandmother, I could hear her laughing with some of the things that I do on the show, as she did when I was doing Lou Jack and other characters. She'd go, "Oh, he's such a stinker."
Oh my gosh!
And it's a funny thing about my grandmother. My mother always hated my love scenes, my kissing scenes. My grandmother would laugh. She thought it was so funny that I had these love scenes. She thought it was hysterical. Whereas my mother, even like if somebody hits me, she doesn't like it. She gets like freaked out by it. I'm like, it's all right. My grandmother thought it was funny. She always thought it was funny. So.
Oh. Well, thank you, Alex, for calling in, and make sure you keep watching us and supporting us here at AfterBuzz TV's Dishin' Days.
Thank you very much for accepting my call.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right, let's take another caller before we wrap things up. Hello, caller. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin' Days. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, everybody. It's Jamel calling from Brooklyn.
Hey, Jamal from Brooklyn.
Hi.
Hi.
You're on live with Vincent. Do you have a question or comment for him?
Yeah, first off, I'm loving the show. I've been smelling the whole hour, so I'm really just loving, watching you all talk about the week and everything. So I really thought it was a good show today.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I had a question for Vincent. Somebody did ask the question, James did ask the question about Beverly, but I wanted to ask about another legend that you sort of, you worked with for years, and that's David Canary, who played Adam Chandler. I was wondering how was it, to work with him, because that was always one of my favorites. And
David.
how did you feel, when he passed?
Well, I would say this about David. David was truly a gentleman through and through. He was the salt of the earth, David. I adored him. There have been actors I've worked with that have been doing this for many years. Occasionally you come upon a diva or divo, David Canary, if anybody deserved to be one, it was him. Never once did I ever see him lose his temper on the set or speak unkindly to anyone. He was a gracious, gracious man and an extraordinary talent. My first time ever working with David, I had to do both the Stuart and or Adam scenes. And it was like a lot of them. We did like 5 hours of the split screen, and I'm playing against him, and then I'm playing against his double because he's got somebody else that's there with other people. And after 5 hours, I walked out of there going, I feel like I just sat through a master class. I mean, he was amazing. He really was. And I was like totally in there with him with his Stuart. I was like, and then we finished, the scene was always like, he became like a totally different person. It was beautiful to watch him work. I had so much respect for him, and it was just so sad. Him passing. It was very sad, and the last few years it was becoming obvious that he was struggling with Alzheimer's, and last time I saw him was in Connecticut when we were doing it online, and he was already going through difficulties at that time, and it was just sad to see that. He was young. He was young. He was in his 70s, early 70s.
Well,
so.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, but thank you for answering my question. And also, I wanted to say that the work that you're doing on Days of Our Lives now, it feels, for me, I'm loving it because it feels like classic soap. You have the person who's doing evil things, but he's not really that he's not an evil person.
Right.
And so I'm really loving the complexity of that, and also to all the ladies, you got all the all-stars.
All of them.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Well, and Chloe came in, who I've been a fan for 10 years, so I love when she smashed in, and oh my God, so it's just a story over the top. So it's giving me again a little bit of David, but it's a totally different character. But David, he dealt with all of the all stars of all my children in Pine Valley. So with the females. So I'm loving that you're doing it too.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Jamal.
Thank you, Jamel, for calling in.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
No problem. I think we have time for one more caller before we wrap things up.
I don't want it to be over.
I know.
That's fun.
And this is it. Hello.
We might run over Alexis.
Hello, caller. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dish Days. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Sarah calling from Toronto.
Hey, Sarah! Sarah is wonderful. She does a wonderful event that Mark is going to be hosting.
Go figure with Billy Flynn.
Oh, there you go. Go figure. Go figure.
I'm following him to Toronto.
Okay.
Sarah, do you have a question or comment for Vincent?
Sure.
Well, first of all, Vincent, I just wanted to say Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
And secondly, I guess my question would be, as far as Deimos and the character, is there any traits of any other characters from the show that you may even want to absorb in and help us understand Deimos a little bit more and where he could be going in the future?
I'm not really sure how to answer that. That's a confusing question for me. Any traits from other characters on the show, Sarah?
Yeah.
Just so that I can understand that a little better. What do you mean?
Go
ahead, Sarah.
Yes. So I guess just trying to find out, like, if you're looking for the little, I've seen that you've been scheming. I see that you're trying to get back at the brother. But is there other parts of Deimos maybe that we haven't seen yet that we're going to be that you'll explore more and we'll get a little bit more of the background?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that I love the backstory of the character. The whole thing with my brother that happened 30 years ago, and as I said, the fact that he was the outcast of the family, the one that the father didn't want to acknowledge. The mistake, he was the bastard son. I love the whole backstory there. And then what happened with Helena and his true love for Helena. And I kind of see it like this, especially where Helena is concerned, that for 30 years he spent 30 years in jail. Helena, the memory of Helena, the love that he had for Helena was his one link to humanity for himself, to his real life. And it was something that he wanted to try and to recapture in some form. So I see the character living in sort of hyperspeed right now, trying to make up for the 30 years that he lost. So that, I think, is what drives him. But this is a pivotal moment, and I can't give too much away. What happened at the river and him almost dying, that has some impact on him as a man. Because, as he even said to Chloe, after all of it, look at me. Look, what do I have? I took his money, I took his power, I took his home, I took his business. But at the end of the day, what does it all matter? When I come to realize that I almost died, there are other things that are more important in life that he had been deprived, and his family is certainly one of them. So there are several things that are there, and I don't want to give too much away, but he's motivated to have different things happen for himself in his life, but at the same time, he's going to be Deimos. He's different, So that's all. I hope I answered your question, Sarah.
Fantastic day.
Thank you, Sarah, for calling
Thanks,
in.
Sarah.
Now,
Thanks.
we have two
Thanks,
more
guys.
questions. Thank you. We have two more questions, one from me and one from Mark.
Okay.
But they,
I'm torn because I told
Is
Lucretia
there
I'd ask
music
her
for this
question.
when you guys
I
ask
know.
questions?
no
Okay, I didn't know. Okay.
music, no
I'm
music.
going to ask Lucretia's. I'll ask you mine off camera.
Okay. All right.
Lucretia wanted to know, you actually had mentioned a little bit about the lawsuit for...
Yes, for Prospect Park.
Yes.
And
She said if that is taken care of, would you consider going to General Hospital as Dr. David Hayward and reuniting with Fiona Hughes and Anna Devane?
Devane, well, first of all, it was wonderful working with Finola. We had a great working relationship, and it was great. I saw her at the Emmys, and it was really nice to see her again. Actually, I think I posted a picture.
I was just going to say, I think you posted.
Yeah, we did. We posted a picture.
I really don't stalk you. I just don't want you to get. I don't want you to think it's just Billy.
Yes, that's right. It just happened to be on Billy's, and there was a link to it. And you read
Exactly.
It. Okay.
Exactly.
But as far as that, I mean, I'm here. I'm in Salem right now,
Right.
and I'm very, very grateful.
I know. I
for
thought
it,
that
and
too when
love
she asked.
that.
I was like, "Don't take him away from us."
Yeah,
You
I
can't go to
do.
General
I
Hospital.
can't. So I couldn't possibly say that. Who knows what tomorrow will
Right.
bring? But
Okay.
for now, I'm definitely in Salem, and I'm very happy to be in Salem.
Thank you.
I've loved it.
Sorry,
I loved
Lucretia.
Now, one more question before we wrap things up. And
Sure.
Vincent, I'm hoping that you can settle something for us.
it. Okay.
Now, last week or a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
we had a debate
Oh my God, I know what this is.
Yeah.
about whether when Deimos fell into the river,
Yes.
whether he fell from a cliff or a steep hill.
It was a cliff.
Yes!
It was a cliff.
Oh,
It was a cliff
high
because
five
it went
right here.
straight down.
Yeah.
It went down, you heard him. You didn't hear him bounce.
And they even
You didn't
say
hear about-
cliff.
I
It
felt
says
like
cliff.
it was a steep hill. Like it wasn't that far. Like he just kind of stumbled in.
No,
and
you
then
did.
got
You-
carried
And
away.
I think also, which they didn't bring up, but I believe that it was a saltwater river, and because he was very buoyant, and he landed on his back.
Yes.
So his face wasn't in
Yeah.
the water, so he was floating on his back the whole way, and
Yeah.
that's why he survived. So
Yeah.
we'll keep it at that.
Well, fine.
Do you have time to ask your question quickly before we wrap?
I just want to, because I mean, before there was days for me, it was nothing but Santa Barbara.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
Santa
I can't even tell you, like I literally, my only childhood memories are running from the bus stop to the home because
Yeah.
we would miss the first 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the bus, how quickly the bus got us home, and just running like to get home. So I just wanted to ask you about Santa Barbara and
Sure,
your time
yeah.
on there, and I love it.
Oh, it was a great show.
Yeah.
It really was. It was sort of groundbreaking at that time.
Yeah.
Because it was the first show that really was doing, some of it was was tongue in cheek, you know. Yeah, it was great. It was fun. It was interesting how it was such an industry favorite. The medium, they won like 3 Emmys consecutively, but for some reason it wasn't taking off Middle America. That was a problem, and it was doing great overseas. In France, it was like the #1 show there.
Yeah.
You know, it was crazy.
Yeah.
At nighttime, you know. So it was a shame, but it didn't.
I wish they
didn't
would bring
last.
it back.
They should do like what some shows have been doing. Like they bring back like a special.
Yeah. Oh my God, I don't even know what I would do.
Santa Barbara.
Oh my God, I would go
Yeah.
crazy.
Cool. That would be fun.
Would completely
Well,
complete me.
unfortunately, our time has run out here at AfterBuzz TV's Dishin' Days. So thank
James
you
is
guys
waiting
so
outside
much
that
for
door.
tuning in. Yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. But before we go,
Thank you for having me.
and thank you, Vincent, for
Vincent,
coming in.
thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank you
guys.
so
It was
much.
great.
Hopefully,
It was great.
you will come
Thank
back
you for the
again.
pizza rolls. They
Yeah.
were
You're
good.
welcome.
Yes.
Sorry
There's
we
none
ate
left.
them
But
all.
Thank you for
really,
eating
there was
them.
like
Sorry.
there was like 8 there when I last had one.
So I'm hungry.
Once I'm gonna tell you, once it makes it that way,
Gone.
they're
That's it.
done.
Game over.
They're done.
Before we head out, Mark, let the folks know where they can find you via social media.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lorraine Love, LORAYNE LOVE.
And Vincent, where can they find you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram and on Twitter, and I know there are other things. I don't know. Oh, and LinkedIn, I guess. Yeah. So, okay. So yeah,
and
I
give
don't
a shout
know.
out
Some
to
of
him.
it's Vincent Irizarry. Some of them are Vincent Irizarry. I don't know.
And give a shout out
You're
to
easy to
your
find.
new real estate page.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I have a
Yeah,
real
yeah.
estate page because I
Yeah.
work with Keller Williams in
Yeah.
real estate. In fact, I've written 2 offers over the last 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
People that are buying homes, and it's going great.
Yes.
I love it. I
Oh,
love
good.
it as much as acting.
Oh, good.
It's been
Good,
fantastic.
good.
Good.
So
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you can find me, your handsome co-host, on Instagram and Twitter
How can
at
you miss him?
Matthew E. Payne.
And of course, you guys can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony or my website, loungingwithtony.com. Thank you guys for tuning in to another full recap of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives. Thank you once again, Vincent, for coming in.
Thank you.
Hopefully you will come in
Thank you,
again
Vincent.
soon. And thank you guys
Pleasure.
for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday for another Dishin' Days right here on AfterBuzz TV.
From
Fantastic.
executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.